Two recent health scares involving older members of Congress are raising questions again about imposing age limits on U.S. lawmakers.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell last month abruptly froze at a press conference before being escorted away. Meanwhile, Senator Dianne Feinstein said, or rather, who is 90 years old, reportedly showed some confusion during a recent vote for a military budget. Meantime, President Biden is the oldest president elected in U.S. history, and if reelected, will stay in office until he turns 86 years old. John Bresnahan and Juliegrace Brufke now join us. John is a co-founder of Punchbowl News, and Julie is a Capitol Hill reporter with Axios. So thank you for joining us. First and foremost, John, you know, Congress is the oldest age ever, with a median age right now in the Senate of 65. Is that concerning? Are you surprised by that?
No, I mean, the country's getting older. The median age of the United States is 38 years old. It's old. The country's aging. People are having less children. The country's getting older. So, you know, we see people in the workforce all the time now staying longer. Up until the pandemic, in fact, you know, there were older Americans working to the 70s and 80s. I mean, it's really, you know, the country is aging. Congress reflects the country. We actually had the age of the House, because of the big turnover in the last election in 2022, that actually went down a little bit. The age of the House is about 58 years old. So there's a gap. There's about a 7-year gap between the House and the Senate, which is really interesting, though.
Juliegrace, question for you. Presidential candidate Nikki Haley has been outspoken when it comes to calling Washington too old. She has even called for a competency test for politicians who are over 75. Are we hearing any of that on Capitol Hill?
Now, I haven't heard a ton of that on Capitol Hill, but we have heard some lawmakers. We've seen Ro Khanna with Senator Feinstein kind of say that it might be time for her to step down. We've seen Congressman Dean Phillips kind of dabble in thinking about launching a primary against Joe Biden. So I think the rising age in the Senate's definitely kind of been a topic within the House.
And Julie, if you could, Juliegrace, I apologize, let me get your name right. What are the arguments against imposing age limits? Is that, you know, experience matters? You look at someone like Dianne Feinstein and you think 90 years old is to be celebrated, but what are some of the arguments against imposing these age limits?
No, I think a lot of people that are against the age limits argue that it's ageism, that a lot of these people are kind of still mentally with it. Now, that being said, some of the younger members feel that, especially given some of the recent health scares over in the Senate with Senator Feinstein and Senator Mitch McConnell, that should be a thing. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out as things move forward.
And John, last fall, we saw Maxwell Frost become the first Gen Z member of Congress. Why aren't we seeing more young people running for office? That would seem to be one solution.
We are. There were more elected in the 2022, especially on the Republican side of the House. There's been dramatic turnover in the House. There are age limits for Congress. You have to be a minimum age to get into Congress and to get into the House and Senate, and you have to be a minimum age to serve as president. What I think that we had was, this is the aging in the country. This is something the founding fathers didn't anticipate. People didn't live that long when the country formed. And when even in decades, even in the 20th century, for instance, when we started Social Security, you know, 65 was considered old. Now people are living into their 80s, 90s. I mean, so this is something that faces all society, not just Congress. So this is going to be a challenge moving forward.
Yeah, and a conversation that's definitely going to be ongoing. John Bresnahan and Juliegrace Brufke, we thank you.
Thanks for having me.